Despite identifying a very massive impulse leg here on the daily time frame of the GBP New Zealand, I am still of the opinion that we will be climbing to the upside a little bit more going into the new week. And why is this being said? First of all, I want us to identify this impulse leg here, which is a very, very significant move that started in February and ended in April, and after which we started seeing a scenario that evolved into a retracement of that impulse leg. However, technically, we should be expecting that since we already have that impulse leg around this area and a correction into this area, the possibility of price going to the downside is on the high side. However, market does not do this most of the time, as sometimes we normally see a scenario where my price moves against technical expectation, and this appears to be one of those scenarios I am expecting going into the new week. And why is this being so? If we look at what's happening on the weekly time frame, the first thing we will observe is that price has been in a consolidation phase for quite a while, as we continue to see price doing juxtaposing between 1.84 area and 1.21 area in the last 2 to 3 years. And since we got into 2020, we can see that price has been caught within this area, giving me a consolidation structure at this point in time. So with this observation here, we will notice that as soon as price comes into this area, there is always a move by buyers pushing price to the upside. And you can see that this has happened multiple times in the space of 2 years. I think a year and a half thereabouts. We can see how price has been doing the same thing as soon as price comes into this area. And this also we can see in the month of April, price came into this area, and since then price has been finding higher highs, higher lows rather. And if we look at this, price comes up into this area, we see rejection in this area. This confirms the indecision that has gripped the market in the last 1.5 years. So with this information in hand, how do I intend to take advantage of the bullish momentum going into the new week? In addition to what I identify here on the weekly time frame, we will notice that if we look left, we can see structures that we can see that this area has been somewhat a demand zone in the past. We can see in this area, we can see here a demand zone, a demand zone, a demand zone, a demand zone, and with a memory of buying power around the 1.9 area, 1.92 area, the tendency of us moving up increases a little bit more. So now, if you move down to the daily time frame, if you move down to the daily time frame, give me a moment, please. When we look left and look at what has been happening since mid-April, we can see our price has been rejecting the 1.915 area multiple times. And what do I mean by that? If we look at what has happened, you see, since price did completed the impulse leg, we saw begin to see higher lows. And after the breakout of the structure, we saw our price has been rejecting this 1.915 area. We can see rejecting, rejecting, and I'm of the opinion that this too will happen this week. So with that being said, we want to be having a key level at this point to guide our actions going forward. So if we bring out our line chart at this point and identify an area where we've been having a demand structure for a while, we see we have a resistance layer, we had a demand, we had a demand, we had a demand at this point. So for me, at this juncture in the market, I want to be looking at this area as a very, very strong level to guide my action going into the new week. So with that being said, allow me to draw my key level around here. We have a key level sitting around 1.912 area. Yes, I think 1.912. Good. We have it sitting at 1.912, and our key level is always gold. So with the key level, let's identify this key level. Key level at 1.92 area. We place it right at the bottom and then on the right hand side of our screen for the sake of clarity. So with this information in hand, what does this key level do for us going into the new week? This key level will serve as a yardstick, as a guide to shepherd us into taking advantage of whatever momentum comes up going into the new week. So what this simply means is that we want to continue to look for buying opportunities right above that key level, and if we see a breakdown of this key level, then we should be putting into consideration a bearish momentum going forward. So let's scale down to a much lower time frame to see how we could take advantage of this bullish momentum going into the new week. So if we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, despite the fact that we are seeing that price has been finding lower lows and lower highs on the 1 hour time frame, if you allow me, let me connect the series of lower highs at this point. With my line chart on, we have a scenario that looks more like this at this point. So if we look at what has been happening during the course of last week's trading session, we saw this bearish impulse leg. We saw bearish impulse leg again. However, when price got into 1.915 area, we saw that we couldn't find any more lower lows, as we saw the next structure we saw was a higher low, which for me is a signal that the bulls are actually coming into this market gradually. And if we look closely into what has been happening in the last and the later part of last week trading session, we will see that we have something that looks more like a double bottom structure, which on a technical perspective is a very, very strong reversal pattern at this point. So if you allow me, let's label this place our new demand zone for the sake of clarity. We have our new demand zone around here. Let's place this right inside, and we should be having something like this. So with a demand zone here and a reversal pattern, identified reversal pattern, we want to be finding a key level that will guide our action going into the new week. And if we look closely into what structure has been given us, we'll have a key level right at 1.2350. If you let me use the purple line as my key level here, and this is what we have. Now, let me give you a visual representation of what I'm talking. After this impulse leg, the bearish impulse leg to the downside, we saw price reject this neckline one time, and then we saw a rejection at the demand zone, and price appears to have broken that key level, and we want to be looking for a retest of structure to join the rally to the upside. So now, going into the new week, how do we want to take advantage of that bullish momentum? Definitely want to be looking for a bullish momentum right above that neckline. So in that regard, I placed a pending order since we already have a breakout of structure. I placed a pending order right at 1.92454, where I'm having a position that looks like this. Allow me to spool out my position. So I'm expecting, yes. So I'm expecting a scenario where I will be entering at 1.924924455, and will take profit again at 1.94, which is around 150 pips. And why is my take profit around that area? If we look left, we can see how price has respected this area. This area has been a demand zone in the past. That's the first area that has been, oh, sorry. This area has been a demand zone in, what's happening here? This area has been a demand zone in the past. Hold on a second. And at the same time, after it was broken to the downside. After it was broken to the downside, we saw that same area become a supply zone, which is a signal that if price come into this area, there's a possibility that the downtrend continuation might happen. So at this point in time, we have a situation like this with our stop loss of around 40 pips thereabout, right below the neckline of the reversal pattern we identified earlier on the daily time frame. So at this point, I would like to pause the video and let us see how price action plays out in the next couple of hours. Stay tuned. Stay tuned in as regular updates will be published in the comment section of my trading view platform. Thank you for watching and do have a wonderful day.